Let's talk about ways to measure your food when you are not having a food scale accessible to you. First off, here's the thing. We learn how to track macros, we learn how to weigh and measure our food and track our food so that we can understand more about the foods that we're choosing to put in our bodies. I think most of you know, like strawberries are more healthy, if you will, than cereal. But I know that one of the things people get hung up on is like if they can't do things perfectly, then they don't want to do things at all. And that becomes one of the really big problems when it comes to tracking your food, because that's ridiculous, right? People are so all or nothing, black or white. It's I'm giving everything or I'm doing nothing. And I just want you to think back to like being in school and whatnot. There wasn't only the option of pass or fail typically, right? It wasn't either you got a 0 or you got 100. There's usually some gray area in between. So if you find yourself at a friend's house, at a restaurant, traveling, don't just tell yourself, well, because I can't track it, I'm not going to do anything. Tell yourself, I'm going to use the tools that I have practiced by doing so much weighing and measuring and tracking to help me make really informed decisions that are going to help me feel good and potentially reach my goals faster than if I were just not giving a shit at all. Because again, I see that a lot. People just want to not give a shit at all because it makes them feel better about the fact that, well, if I couldn't do it perfectly, I just chose to not do it because it wasn't going to be worth it anyways. So let's dive into just like showing you some different strategies for weighing and measuring your food. So first off, I want to start with like fruits and vegetables or your plant-based sources that you're going to be filling most of your plate with most of the time. I would say one of the big things we have a lot of our clients do, and I got this from Coach Liz, was adopting a mentality where your goal is to, of course, hit a fiber goal each day. And for most of our clients, that is 25 grams, although for some it's 20, for some, especially men, it's 35 at minimum. I myself, I shoot for a minimum of 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day from real foods. But again, I'm getting into the minutia. You want to be focused on, am I getting enough fibrous fruits and vegetables that help me hit that 5 or more cup serving per day recommendation? This is to make sure you're getting plenty of micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, all the things that help you stay healthy. Because what is the point of losing weight, if that's your goal, if you also are not healthy? Right? If you feel like shit because you're just feeding your body with the amount of calories you need, but there's absolutely no thought given to the quality of the foods going in your body, then we got a problem. Okay, so start off with those plant sources, your fruits, your vegetables. So let's go through some of the measuring tactics. Well, let's say you're at somebody else's house, right? Maybe you're visiting your parents, your in-laws, whatever. I bet even if they don't have a food scale, they probably have measuring cups. I bet, like just gonna guess, most people do. So when we look at different serving sizes on foods, you're gonna see different things on food labels. So for instance, if I just come over here to like this coleslaw bag, if you're not doing coleslaw mix, you guys, you're missing out. It's a really easy way to make like a big ass salad. But I digress. On the back, when it talks about the serving size, it says it's 1.5 cups or 85 grams. So that is for this food in particular, okay? It's gonna be different on various foods, what those serving sizes are. 85 grams does not always equate 1.5 cups for every food, but it does typically correlate with the coleslaw in this particular food item. Then if I go to this bag of carrot chips, for instance, the serving size on here is 85 grams or 3 ounces. Notice they're not giving me any sort of a cup measurement, but 85 grams was the serving size over there, 85 grams was the serving size over here. You're gonna see that number a lot the more you pay attention to the foods that you're buying. I see 85 grams as the serving size quite frequently on a lot of the vegetables that I buy, especially frozen veggies. So again, you saw that with the carrots, with the coleslaw. It also happens to be the serving size on the green beans and the riced cauliflower and the frozen broccoli that I buy at Costco. And again, these are things that I know because I pay attention to what I'm putting in my body. I pay attention to what I'm buying at the grocery store. I pay attention to what I'm tracking in an app. And I only got that way, and I only started paying attention to those things because I wanted to make a change and I wanted to learn more about the foods I was putting in my body. So start reading those labels, you guys. Okay, so anyways, you heard that. It could be different options for you. Then I'll even show you this one. I got cereal here, 1 cup, 40 grams. So they're not even giving me like ounces or anything. This is very much like the coleslaw. We got 1 cup of cereal over here is only 40 grams. So 40 grams when you weigh it on the scale, whereas 1.5 cups of coleslaw is 85 grams. So again, different foods, different things going on with their volume as opposed to their actual weight. So the most accurate way to track our food is to weigh it. Our weight is going to be most accurate. Put that in your head. However, it doesn't mean that we just neglect the fact that volume measurements can be useful as well. So I'm going to show you some of those volume measurements here and show you what that looks like on a plate. So one of the strategies I recommend if you're just getting started with tracking foods and whatnot is to go through some of this, right? Like take an actual measuring cup, put it on your food scale, zero out the food scale, and then fill it with that food item so you can see what that looks like when you're putting it in a measuring cup. Like, oh, okay, it's 1 cup here, but it also weighs this much. Okay, let me go record that in MyFitnessPal. And you wouldn't want to record the volume measurement, the cups necessarily. I would save anything like that of like measuring in cups or something for if you are traveling and you still want to track, but you don't have a food scale, like you can totally do that. But I would say, again, more often than not, especially when you're at home and you are using the food scale, if we're recording our food in the app, we want to make sure we are doing it based off of weight, not based off of measurement. So you want to do the grams or the ounces that shows up on the food scale, not the cup sizes that you're using with measuring cups. And again, that is getting super technical. Someday down the road, you're just gonna be able to eyeball these things because you've had so much practice, and so you won't even have to worry about tracking the things, weighing the things, measuring the things. You're just gonna practice so freaking much that you know how to eyeball it because you know what it looks like. So anyways, I did that for some various foods here. I literally put this cup here on my scale, I zero it out, and then I filled it up till it reached 1 cup on the measuring cup here. So for these strawberries in particular, it happened to weigh 139 grams on my food scale. Okay, when we plug that into MyFitnessPal, 139 grams of strawberries, it shoots out that that is 44 calories, right? So when you people, you know who you are, you're putting in your food logs that you had like 20 grams of berries, guess who's annoyed? Me. Because nobody is eating 20 grams of strawberries. That's literally 1/7 of this. If you were eating 1/7 of a cup of any sort of fruits or vegetables, that's basically like 0 calories. Like, what is that, 6 calories to eat 1/7 of this, to eat 20 grams of strawberries? Why are you even wasting your time? Let's see exactly what that looks like here. What would 20 grams of strawberries look like? Almost there. Right there. It's maybe a strawberry, right? Maybe a strawberry, 20 grams right here. No. So you need to either like stop lying about what you're actually eating, stop guessing about what you're eating, or just be real with yourself and say, I can eat a lot more than 1 strawberry. There is nothing to be scared of when it comes to eating your fruits and vegetables, you guys. Absolutely nobody on God's green earth got fat or got unhealthy because they ate too many fruits or vegetables. It's just not a thing. So if you're wasting your time eating anything less than a cup of berries, for instance, I need you to step up your game. I need you to be eating like a cup of freaking fruits and vegetables, okay? So this is 1 cup of strawberries. You see it here in the measuring cup. I've shown you that, cool, I did it on the food scale, whatever. Now let's look and see what that looks like on a plate, just so, again, you have an idea, because you're not always gonna be able to use measuring cups. Maybe you're at the goddamn buffet in Mexico and you want some berries. God bless if you're able to get strawberries at a buffet in Mexico, because it pretty much never happens, but let's be able to see what that visually looks like on an actual plate. So here I am, putting it on my plate, beautiful. If I were to lay it out, see, it's not even layered or anything. It's just there. This is a normal dinner-sized plate. Let me see if I can show you here from a better angle. Look at how much of my plate's real estate that takes up. A pretty decent amount. So you can have a lot more fruits and vegetables than you think. They're going to take up a lot of space for very minimal calories. Keep in mind, this is only 44 calories worth of strawberries. You can eat an entire plate of strawberries and it's gonna cost you on your caloric budget like 120, 130 calories. Big deal. Go eat all the strawberries you want. I literally don't care if you eat 3 cups of strawberries at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because you're still gonna be better off than if you're eating a plate full of dog shit from the buffet, okay? So anyways, that is your strawberry demo. What do we got next? Next, let's do blueberries, because, okay, I talked about berries and like if you're eating less than a cup, you're not really having very much. Well, blueberries are clearly a lot smaller than strawberries. They just have they take up a different amount of space. So this is a 1/2 measuring cup that I've got here. So obviously only half the amount of this guy, right? Make it make sense. It makes sense, right? So I already again weighed this on my food scale earlier, and the half cup of blueberries, it was about 70 grams, which is interesting, right? Because this, when I filled this 1 cup with strawberries, it was like 139 grams. So really, volume wise, based off of weight and volume, very similar. I could fill a 1 cup measuring cup full of blueberries, and it's probably about 140 grams when I weigh it on the scale. Why? How do I know that? Because again, half a cup here of blueberries was 70. 70 times 2, 140, 1/2 times 1 cup. Okay, I hope you see the correlation there, the connection. So 70 grams of blueberries is 40 calories. All right, so 70 grams of blueberries is 40 calories. 139 grams of strawberries was 44 calories. So as you can see, the blueberries, they take up the same amount of space or real estate as the strawberries. However, they're about the same amount of calories. So you can have a cup of strawberries, or you can have a half a cup of blueberries, and they're gonna be about the same when it comes to calories. So again, you guys, it's nothing to stress out about. It's just these things that you want to make those connections. Like, not all berries are created equal. Just like not all meats are created equal. Not all dairy products are created equal. And not all things that are 1 cup are going to be created equal, right? So 1 cup of strawberries is dramatically different than 1 cup of cookie dough, is dramatically different than 1 cup of chicken, right? They're all going to have different nutritional components to them. So here's a half a cup of blueberries. Let's throw it on the plate and see what that looks like for you. Just again, so you've got an idea. Again, takes up a lot less inventory than those strawberries did when it comes to the real estate here on your plate. But again, visual representation. Now, if I were to do this quite frequently, I would have a really good idea of about how many blueberries I could have for half a cup of blueberries without having a measuring cup. I would just be able to visually see what that looks like on a plate. Okay, same thing for the strawberries. Okay, so fruits, okay, cool, dope. We did a couple of little experiments there. Now let's talk about some vegetables. So I've got romaine lettuce here. This is 2 cups of romaine lettuce. Okay, the standard size for any mixed greens that I see of any sorts, whether it's kale, arugula, romaine, spinach, spring mix, any of that stuff is typically 2 cups for the serving size. And for these, 85 grams is also the serving size, right? So remember, on the coleslaw, 1.5 cups was 85 grams. On mixed greens like romaine and stuff, usually 85 grams is 2 cups of that food. Wow, don't know how to talk, okay? So 2 cups here, obviously twice as much as the 1 cup of strawberries. However, 2 cups of these greens, romaine, spinach, spring mix, all that stuff, it's usually about 20 calories. So this is why I'm so into high volume foods. This is why, especially if you're in a deficit phase where you're trying to lose weight, a big ass salad is a really good idea because you get so much volume of food for so few calories. Again, you can have 2 cups of romaine for 20 calories. Let's see it fill that plate. Okay, big ass salad right here. And like, I would probably even do more than this, right? But big ass salad right there. 2 cups of romaine for just 20 calories. Or the s'more cereal, remember, just 1 cup of this is 160 calories. So if you had 2 cups of cereal, 320 calories. 2 cups of lettuce, 20 calories. I don't think it takes a whole lot of mathematicians to be able to put together which one's going to make you run out of your caloric budget each day quicker, the romaine or the cereal. I think you know the answer, okay? So then let's do a comparison about what that looks like here. So let's say we want to do 2 cups of our cereal. Let's measure it out. Let's see what we're working with here. I'm gonna actually do this in real time with you. I got my 2 cup measuring cup here on the scale. On the label for the cereal, again, it says 1 cup is 40 grams. So I'm actually going to measure out and see if I can get 80 grams to be as close as possible to that 2 cup mark so that we can make this as realistic as possible. All right, beautiful. 80 grams here on my food scale. And as you can see, maybe you can see, it's not quite to that 2 cup mark, okay? Not quite to the 2 cup mark. right? That 2-cup line, a little bit higher. So this is actually, when I measured out volume-wise, it's only about 1.5 cups. This is why, again, it's so important that you weigh these things on a food scale when you have the opportunity to do so. So at your home or whatever, if you can measure things on a food scale, that is going to give you the most accurate bang for your buck when it comes to tracking your targets, right? So these not even 2 cups, this 1.5 cups, aka 80 grams of cereal, is 320 calories. So I love cereal, you guys. I eat it pretty frequently in my crack bowls or in my creamy desserts and stuff that I make for ice cream every night. But I could never go back to eating this as like a breakfast. I used to eat cereal as a kid. This is why I was a fat kid. I grew up off of things like Golden Grahams and Cocoa Pebbles and stuff like that. That was my breakfast. I am sure I'm not the only one. This happened with plenty of us, but I probably ate more than this in a serving. No wonder I was fat, right? So here it is in a bowl. Again, it's still really not taking up that much space in my cereal bowl. If I were to actually just like free pour and have a big ass bowl of cereal, this thing would be filled to the brim. So it would probably be closer to like 700 or 800 calories, not this dinky little 320 calorie serving of cereal. Again, super, super important, especially with these hyper palatable, overly processed foods to measure. Like if you didn't measure your lettuce, is it really a big deal if you have more than this? No, like at most you're gonna get 40 calories instead of 20. But if you choose to not measure your cereal and you overdo it, let's say you accidentally did 4 cups of lettuce. Oh my God, you would get at worst 40 calories for all that lettuce. But if you accidentally had 4 cups of cereal, you're looking at, what was that, 640 freaking calories for a bowl of cereal. Again, eat as much fruits and vegetables as you want. Nobody got fat or unhealthy doing that. But when you're going to the extremes with shit like this, well, that's why we have to have a limit on it. That's why you have to tell yourself, I don't need to have 20 bowls of cereal. I'm good with like a cup of cereal or half a cup of cereal in my crack bowl or whatever it is, okay? We'll do just a couple more examples here. Actually, we'll just do one more. We'll do some protein this time, okay? So we're gonna do this smoked chicken. This is actually just this pulled smoked chicken that I bought from the grocery store. All I did was I had to throw it in the microwave to heat it up or whatever. So I do those pre-done meats every now and then, you guys, really just to taste test them and see if they're good, convenient things for people, because I prefer to cook my own foods. They're gonna be better quality for me. I like to flavor and season them the way that I want to, and I'm cheap, right? Like, I could buy this package of chicken, which was only 1 pound, okay, 1 pound, and I bet I probably paid like $7 or $8 for it or something. I like to buy the big packs of chicken from Costco for like $30. It's gonna last me a lot longer than this guy will. So anyways, this thing for 3 ounces is 150 calories. So when it comes to meats and stuff, you're typically not usually measuring them with grams. You're usually measuring them in ounces instead. So again, look at food labels. You'll see they will always have a gram measurement as well, but more often than not, you will see that your protein sources for fish and for meat and stuff is going to be weighed in ounces. Do whatever works best for you. If you want to do grams, great, but ounces are pretty easy. And then this becomes something really easy to do at restaurants and stuff too, because they'll typically say like, hey, it's a 6-ounce steak, or it's an 8-ounce salmon, or something like that, okay? So I typically would say that aiming for a palm-sized serving of protein is really, really what you want to be aiming for at minimum. 1 to 2 palm-sized servings is really what we're looking for. So again, if you don't have measuring cups, if you don't have a food scale, if you're not ordering off a menu where they're able to tell you like how many ounces it is, which, pro tip, if you're at a restaurant and you're really curious, you can ask. You can ask them what the portion size is, they'll tell you. But a good way to gauge that is about 1 to 2 palm-sized servings of protein is what you should be aiming for in your meals. So let's look and see about what half a cup of this chicken is. I haven't experimented with this yet, so you guys are maybe learning right alongside me with this fresh demo. And let's see how many ounces this half cup ends up being of this pulled smoked chicken. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's good. So it's a little tasty, a little too tasty, because your girl wants to eat like all of it, which is fine if the rest of my food wasn't already planned out today. So it's not fine because I don't need to have it. So This, I'm like stuffing it as much as I can to try to make it 3 ounces, and I can't even get there, right? So this is just a half a cup, and it is about 2.5 ounces of cooked meat, okay? This is a half a cup, yeah, and it's 2.45 ounces, okay? So half a cup of chicken here, not very much. It's a very little bit, but that 2.5 ounces is gonna be, what do I wanna say? Probably like 125-ish calories. Sorry, I'm not good at doing my math right here on my toes, but the 3 ounces of this would be 150 calories. So now let's look and see, again, what kind of real estate that takes up on your plate. We'll put it on there, and that's a decent amount to start with, but it's just not enough, you guys. It's not going to keep you full for very long because it is a very small amount of protein. And one of the biggest things that most people are really neglecting to get into their diet is an adequate amount of protein. Protein keeps you fuller for longer. Protein is what builds your muscles. Protein is going to help you to actually speed up your metabolism if you were eating enough of it in correspondence with a strength training routine that is optimizing building muscle to maximize increasing and improving your metabolism. So anyways, hopefully you can see this. It is not quite a quarter of a plate, but this is the actual bare minimum that I would want you to be aiming for when it comes to protein when you are just using the plate method, okay? So when it came to the fruits and veggies, we wanted you to take up about half a plate of real estate with those fruits and veggies. So let's show it on here. Dun, dun, dun. As you can see, I've got my greens, I've got my chicken, okay? So we've got our greens, we've got our protein, and what's missing? A carb and a fat. So when it comes to your carbs, I've got some rice here. So this is just some basmati rice that I made, and typical portion size would be about like a half a cup of cooked rice, a half a cup of potatoes, sweet potatoes, whatever your starch is. Maybe it's a slice of bread, whatever. But here I have, actually let's get rid of that was just a quarter cup. So let's do a half a cup of that rice. Beautiful. As you can see, I'm not gonna measure it, just whatever. I wanna show you what this plate method looks like. Anyways, so here we go. We got a quarter is your rice, a quarter is your protein, a half is your veggie. You can have way more veggies than that because nobody's having a salad that is just lettuce, right? Pile up that plate with a bunch of other stuff. Put berries on there, put carrots on there, put little tomatoes on there, put more broccoli on there. You can have as much freaking vegetables and fruits as you want. I don't care if you're like piled high with fruits and veggies, amazing. But when it comes to like your carb source, you're gonna wanna be a little bit more concerted with that and make sure that you're paying attention to how much you're having, because the calories from that rice is gonna add up a hell of a lot quicker than the calories from the fruits and vegetables. The protein, again, like eat as much as you possibly can, because I promise you none of you are gonna overdo it. I have a problem. I could eat as much protein as I could cook in a day. Seriously, I could eat pounds of chicken or beef or fish or eggs or whatever. I freaking love protein, but I know most of you are not gonna overdo it on the protein front. So half your plate, fruits and or veggies, a quarter of your plate, a lean protein source, a quarter of your plate, your carb source, and then add in a fat of some sort. So I don't have like any fats here that are handy or anything. I would say just your fats would probably be like your salad dressing, your fats would be avocado, your fat would be nuts, but we're gonna wanna be more moderate in our approach to what that looks like for our servings of fats. So for this, for those of you that don't know, this is a tablespoon, okay? This is about a serving of fat. So a tablespoon, you'll see this on labels for butter and for oils and stuff. 1 tablespoon is usually, somewhere around like 120 calories when it comes to butter or oils. 1 tablespoon, if you don't have a tablespoon to be able to measure that, well, then we can look at your thumb. It's usually about the size of your thumb. That is typically the serving of fat we want. So again, let's go back to the plate. A quarter of your plate is your carb source. So it's like a cupped handful. A quarter of your plate is your protein source. So about 1 to 2 palm-sized servings of protein. more is better. I'd be totally cool with you going 2 palm-sized servings. Half of your plate is fruits and or veggies. I don't care if you fill the whole plate with fruits and veggies, do as much as you want. And then about a thumb-sized serving or a tablespoon is gonna be your healthier fats. So these are all ways to be able to, again, get that connection about what it looks like to actually weigh the food, and then to measure the food, and then to just visualize the food, because eventually that's where we all wanna be able to get to. We wanna be able to break free from MyFitnessPal. We want to be able to break free from the food scales and the measuring cups, and we just want to ultimately know how to eat in a way that keeps us full, keeps us satisfied, but also helps us feel really good with our energy levels and just in our bodies, right? You know you feel better when you're eating the right amounts of foods and the appropriate foods for you and your goals. So thanks for following along. Let me know what questions you've got.